Hello students, in this lecture we will talk about the coordination chemistry. So coordination chemistry is the part of inorganic chemistry. For your 12th board syllabus, coordination chemistry topic is there, and in competitive the same syllabus is there. But in this year, for the competitive, that stereoisomerism of coordination chemistry, that topic is deleted from from the syllabus. Now let's talk about the introductory lecture of coordination chemistry. First of all, I will tell the subtopic of this chapter. First of all, we will discuss about the definition of coordination chemistry, coordination compound. Then after that, we will talk about the Werner coordination theory. That Werner coordination theory gives an idea about the structure of coordination compound. Then after that, we'll talk about some basic terminology ligand. So in that point, we'll discuss the types of ligand. After that, we'll talk about the coordination number, characteristics of complex. Then two theories are there: Sedgwick's electronic theory and effective atomic number. That Sedgwick's electronic theory and effective atomic number, it gives an idea about the distribution of electron. It gives an idea about the distribution of electron in the coordination compound. Okay. After that effective atomic number, we'll discuss about the IUPAC nomenclature. As like the organic compound, here we have to give the name to the inorganic coordination compound with the help of IUPAC rule. Now after that, isomerism of coordination compound point is there. In that isomerism, we will discuss about the structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. Then, to explain the bond angle, to explain the bond length in coordination compound, valence bond theory is there. That valence bond theory explains the bonding in coordination compound. After that, we'll talk about the magnetic property. Then, as the valence bond theory not explain very well the magnetic property of coordination compound, to explain the magnetic behavior properly, one another theory is there. That theory is crystal field theory, CFT theory. That crystal field theory explain the magnetic property very well, and that crystal field theory also explain about the color of coordination compound. Then lastly, we'll talk about the bonding in metal carbonyl and application of coordination compound. First of all, let's talk about the definition of coordination chemistry. As I explained all the subtopic in short, now let's start this coordination chemistry chapter. What is coordination chemistry? As we can say, it is the branch of inorganic chemistry which deals with study of coordination compound or complex compound. The study of coordination compound or complex compound is called as a coordination chemistry. I will give some example of coordination compound. There are several coordination compound complex present in minerals, plants and animals. Here I will give two examples. As we know that in plants chlorophylls are present, that chlorophylls are nothing but the coordination compound of magnesium, and we also know that hemoglobin in blood, it is the coordination compound of iron. Okay, as like this, several coordination compound complex are there which are present in minerals, plants and animals. Okay, what is coordination compound? Let's talk about the definition of coordination compound. As we know, the formation of coordinate bond, whenever one of the atom donates its lone pair of electron, donates its charge to the another atom to form the bond, That type of bonding we have to say it is coordinate bond. As in case of covalent bond, we can say there is sharing of electron between two atoms and form the bond. That bond is covalent bond. But what is coordinate bond? While forming the bond, one of the atom donate its lone pair or donate its charge to the another atom which have empty atomic orbital. Then that bond is called as a coordinate bond. Whenever in a compound coordinate bond is there, that compound called as a coordination compound. Okay, hope you are getting the definition of coordination compound. Here I will give one simple example of coordination compound, CuNH3,4 in bracket plus 2 charge on bracket. Okay, so this is about the definition of coordination compound. Now let's talk the next topic, difference between double salt and coordination compound. Here first of all I will tell the example of double salt and example of coordination compound. Then after that we will talk about the point of difference between double salt and coordination compound. The example of double salt is alum, and example of double salt is alum. The formula of alum is FeSO4 NH3 twice SO4 6H2. And the example of coordination compound is K4 FeCN6 potassium ferrocyanide. Let's talk about double salt, the meaning of double salt. Okay, remember one of the important thing, double salt exists only in solid state. As we know about the physical state of alum, it is solid, so double salt exists only in solid state. This is the first point we can say. Now let's talk the second point of that double salt. When we dissolve that double salt in the water, that double salt loses its identity in the solution. That is the second property. Then third, the double salt properties are same as that of the constituent particles. Double salt properties are same as that of the constituent particles. That means if you observe this alum, example of double salt, if you check some properties of that alum, that properties are resemble as like the property of iron, as like the property of sulfate ion. Hope you are getting this point. Now next point, in a double salt, the metal ion exists in their normal oxidation state. Metal ion exist in their normal oxidation state. And last point, the double salt are ionic in nature. This is all about the double salt. What we discuss about the double salt? Double salt, they exist in solid state, they lose their identity in the solution. The properties are same like the constituent particles. In double salt, metal ions exist in their normal oxidation state. Last point, double salt are ionic in nature, means when dissolved they form the ion. Now let's talk about the coordination compound. Generally the coordination compound exists in solid as well as in liquid state. First point, they exist in solid as well as liquid state. Second point, they do not lose its identity completely in the solution. As we discussed, double salt lose its identity in the solution, but coordination compound do not lose its identity in the solution. Third point, the properties of coordination compound are different than their constituent particles. Properties are different than their constituent particle. Then after that we will talk about the oxidation state of metal ion. In the coordination compound, metal ion shows more oxidation state than the normal. And last point, the coordination compound, they may be ionic or they may be coordinate in nature. So this is the point of difference between double salt and coordination salt. Okay, now after after this point we will talk about the transition metal. As we discussed in d block element topic, transition element shows transition element form number of coordination compound. We also discussed the reason behind it. Because of small size of transition element, because of availability of vacant d orbital, because of tendency of accepting lone pair of electrons, and because of large nuclear charge, that transition metal have a tendency to form coordination compound. So this is basic of the coordination compound. Now let's talk about the structure of coordination compound. There are number of theories for the structure of coordination compound. In your syllabus, Werner theory of coordination compound is there, and that Werner theory explain about the structure of coordination compound. Let's talk the assumption of Werner coordination theory. So one of the important assumption of Werner coordination theory is that transition metal possess two type of valencies. Transition metal possess two type of valency, primary valency and a secondary valency. And every transition metal have a tendency to satisfy both valency, primary as well as secondary valency. I will explain first about the primary valency. What is primary valency? Primary valency is called as ionizable valency. Primary valency is called as ionizable valency, and that primary valency it represent the oxidation state of metal. Generally, the primary valencies are satisfied by anions and they are represented by the dotted lines. Okay, I will give here one simple example, and with the help of that example I will explain you primary valency as well as secondary valency. Okay, suppose this is your complex CONH3 CONH3 6 Cl3 CONH3 6 Cl3. This is your coordination compound. Suppose we take this cobalt at the center. Okay, this cobalt have two type of valency, primary valency and secondary valency. This is your complex. CONH3 6 is in square bracket and Cl3 it present in outside the bracket. Now this cobalt is bounded with 3 chlorine atom, and we have to represent that 3 chlorine atom like this. We represent that 3 chlorine atom with the help of dot. So we have to say here that 3 chlorine atom satisfy the primary valency of your cobalt. Hope you are getting this particular concept. As this chlorine present in outside the chlorine present outside that square bracket, that means that chlorine are ionizable. That chlorine are ionizable. There are 3 chlorine atom. That number itself represent the oxidation state of that cobalt in your coordination compound. This is about the primary valency. That primary valency present in outer sphere. That present in outer sphere. Okay, I will tell you the meaning of outer sphere later. Hope you are getting this all about the primary valency or ionizable valency. Let's talk about the secondary valency. The secondary valency is also called as non-ionizable valency. That secondary valency represent the coordination number of that metal. As in this example, 6 NH3 molecules are there which are present in the square bracket, and we have to represent all that 6 NH3 molecule like this as 1 2 3 4 5 6. Suppose this dot represent NH3, here is also 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 NH3. As that NH3, they are represented, or they are bound with the thick line. Okay, they are present in an inner sphere. They are present in a inner sphere. This is your inner sphere, we can say. This is your inner sphere, and these 3 chlorine atoms, we have to say that 3 chlorine atoms present in outer sphere. So this is about the primary valency and secondary valency. Hope you got the concept of Werner coordination theory. Okay, now let's take some application of Werner coordination theory. Let's talk the different example of the cobalt amine. So in front of you 4 complexes are there. This 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you just focus on that diagram. Observe that first complex name is CONH36Cl3. Already we discussed this example, CONH36 in square bracket, and outside the bracket 3 chlorine atoms are there. We talk about the structure of that CONH36Cl3. Now let's take another example, CONH35Cl. This is in square bracket, this second example. If you talk about this example, CONH35Cl in square bracket and outside the bracket Cl2. If you observe the number of chlorine atom present outside the square bracket, that 2 chlorine atoms are there. That means we have to say 2 chlorine atoms, they are present in outer sphere, and we have to represent that bonding of chlorine with the cobalt with the help of this dotted line. Okay, so dotted line is there in between that chlorine and cobalt. Then let's talk about the secondary valency. CO in square bracket 5 molecules of ammonia is there and 1 chlorine atom is there. So CO 5 ammonia molecule 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and this one is 6 chlorine atom. Okay, if you observe this particular chlorine atom, this chlorine atom satisfy both primary as well as secondary valency. Okay, so dotted line as well as thick line is there for the bonding of that cobalt and chlorine. Okay, so from this example we can say that primary valency satisfy only by negative ion or anion, while the secondary valency satisfied by negative ion or neutral molecule. But I say the primary valency satisfied by anion, while secondary valency satisfied by negative ion as well as neutral molecule. Let's talk the third example, CONH34Cl2 in square bracket and outside the square bracket 1 chlorine atom is there. That means in outer sphere only 1 chlorine atom is there. Only 1 chlorine atom is there, and in inner sphere 4 ammonia molecules are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 ammonia molecules are there, and these 2 chlorine atoms which are present in the inner sphere, they satisfy both primary as well as secondary valency, these 2 chlorine atom. Okay, then same for the last compound, CONH3Cl3. No any kind of ions present outside the square bracket, so it what indicate this 3 chlorine atom, 1, 2, 3 chlorine atom satisfy both primary as well as secondary valency. So all the ions and molecules for CONH3 thrice Cl3 present in inner sphere. So this is all about the application of Werner theory. Okay, so let's talk the same example. Now if you take in consider this example, COCl3 6NH3, as its structure is like this. We previously discussed it. This CO atom in outer sphere 3 chlorine atom, in inner sphere 6 ammonia molecules. So we have to say here 3Cl minus satisfy primary valency, 6NH3 satisfy secondary valency, ions present in the solution 4 ions, as in outer sphere 3 chlorine atoms are there. That means that 3Cl minus ion have a tendency to combine with 3 Ag plus and form 3 mole of AgCl. Okay, so this is about the COCl3 6NH3, then COCl3 5NH3. For this compound, how many ionizable valencies are how many ions present in the outer sphere? 2 chlorine atoms, they are present in the outer sphere. In inner sphere 5 NH3 and 1 chlorine, and that chlorine atom satisfy both primary as well as secondary valency. As only 2 chlorine atom are ionizable, hence it form 2 mole of AgCl. Then for this example, COCl3 4NH3 ionizable chlorine 1, so formation of 1 AgCl molecule. For this COCl3 3NH3, no chlorine ionizable is there, so AgCl molecule precipitate is nil. So this is all about the Werner coordination theory. Okay.